everyone, welcome to another video review, and today I'm reviewing one of the most eagerly anticipated games of 2019, which is Death Stranding for the PS4. Now, Death Stranding is a game that's been a very, very long time coming. It was officially announced, I believe, in 2016 at E3, and this was right after the PT fiasco and all that stuff went down. This was kind of Kojima's next idea after Metal Gear Solid, and it definitely took the world by storm. It's been a game that's been brewing for a long time. We've had a lot of time to speculate what kind of game this would be, what kind of gameplay it would have, how the game itself would take shape. And it's honestly kind of surprising, 4 years later to come out of the other end of this game. It's a game that finally released, I finally played it. It took me roughly about 60 hours to get through the entirety of this game. And, it's a very divisive game. You're going to see people out there that really love it. You're going to see people that hate it. It's been really mixed as far as reviews go and everything. And I think a lot of people were expecting another Metal Gear Solid game, and that's not what this game is at all. It's hard to explain. I will do the best I can to explain it. I will also tell you this review is completely spoiler free. I'm not going to be talking about the end of the game. I'm not going to be talking about anything that's spoiler at all whatsoever. I don't want to spoil this game for anybody that is interested in playing the game. I'm not even going to be doing a spoiler video on the channel. So this is what it is. This is my review of Death Stranding. Let's go ahead and dive into Death Stranding.
They're here. I can't get you out! Sam!
Shut up. Don't even breathe.
Death Stranding, you play as a character named Sam Porter Bridges, and he's played by Norman Reedus of The Walking Dead fame and The Boondock Saints. Right off the bat, I'll say all of the actors in this game, all of the people that did like their, face scanning and acting and everything, all fantastic. I think Norman Reedus does a really excellent job. All of the characters in this game, outstanding. You have Mads Mikkelsen, most famously known for the Hannibal TV show. Also, he was Le Chiffre in Casino Royale. He's been in a couple other places. Also, phenomenal actor, does an outstanding job. You have Troy Baker in here playing kind of a very scenery-chewing, villainous character. You have just a ton of actors in this game that just do an outstanding job with what they're given. First and foremost, Death Stranding is very much a science fiction game, but it also plays as a metaphor, I think, to how Kojima reacted to, working with the Metal Gear Solid franchise for 30 years and then essentially having his baby stripped from him. It's kind of a direct reaction, I think, to everything that happened with him. And this is his way of expressing that, because he's not really talked about publicly what happened there. And I think this game specifically answers those questions metaphorically. And so you have, some really crazy science fiction going on. Basically, the game takes place in America. The society has collapsed. You are kind of rebuilding society through being a package delivery person. So it kind of takes cues from that not great Kevin Costner movie, The Postman. I think this does a better job of telling a story like that. But it also has a very sometimes kind of jumbled around story, but I will say, for a game that I think a lot of critics, came off of it were like, I don't understand the end of this game, I feel like I completely understood the end of the game, where it was going, and I will say I enjoyed this game from beginning to end. With that being said, it is different. It's not your typical action game, and going into it's different than probably most any game you've ever played before. And I can't tell you if you personally are going to like the game or if you personally aren't going to like the game. I went into this with an open mind, but I also went into this game not expecting Metal Gear Solid, and I think that's why I had a better time with it, where I think a lot of critics went into this going, oh, he's making another Metal Gear Solid, it just can't be called that, and the game is not that at all. One other aspect I'll talk about the game really quick here is the online connectivity of the game. So it kind of has a Dark Souls type of connectivity, where you're not playing with other people online per se, but once you get to a certain point in the chapters of the game, it starts to open up where you can build different structures. So you can build like bridges, you can build generators to charge your battery, you can build shelters, and all sorts of stuff. But other people's things that they've created will populate in the game. So when that happens, around the chapter 3, it makes the game a lot more interesting. That being said, that's literally the only online connectivity part of the game. I couldn't imagine playing this game offline because that adds so much to it. There's some of the other cool aspects of this game, and some things aren't, go into it knowing that some things are just not explained. I don't have an answer as to why everybody's drinking Monster energy drinks and not water in this game. They never explain that. Timefall is the name of the rain in this game, and what it does is it rapidly ages you if you touches your bare skin. So it's very interesting. Like, the science fiction aspects of Death Stranding are incredibly fascinating and well thought out. And I like that not everything is explained to you. Like, I don't know why people are drinking Monster Energy. I don't know why Timefall, the rain in this game, can be converted into Monster Energy. and why people, obviously I guess people can't drink water because of the timefall situation, but you would think that they would build a filter for that instead of, oh no, it turns into Monster Energy. Like, that's never explained in the game. So my only real negative complaint about the game is its pacing of its story. You get, like, I'd say the first 4 to 6 hours of the game really set up the story, and then you get to what's called Chapter 3 of the game, and it kind of opens up, and you're just doing deliveries for a while, connecting these different parts of the United States. There's a long stretch, I'd say, 30 to 40 hours of just package delivery, dealing with BTs, dealing with these entities and stuff, and then you get to the end, and it's like 8 hours of story with boss fight after boss fight after boss fight, and then a wrap up. And that's probably my biggest complaint about the game. It would have been nice to sprinkle the story throughout the 50 to 60 hours here, rather than just have story at the beginning, story at the end, and kind of maybe little tidbits of it, but not. I don't even want to say that, because there's a really long stretch of just no story. A lot of people have called this a walking simulator. It is very much like a walking simulator, but it's probably the most involved walking simulator that anyone's made. I really enjoyed my time with it, but you have to be in the mindset of a different kind of game, and I can't stress that enough. So if you are going into this game expecting crazy action and stuff like that, there are action set pieces in this game, there are moments of gunplay and stuff like that, but it's so much more than that. There's some crazy science fiction in this game. Without spoiling anything, I really don't want to talk about the story because I really don't want to spoil it for anybody, but basically your character is assigned with connecting different way stations throughout the United States together to connect what's known as the chiral network, which is explained in the game, so I'm not going to really explain it here, but it's basically a network that they're trying to connect together to rebuild America. And so you have different characters in the game. They all have different names. So you have a character named Die Hard Man, you have a character named Heartman, you have a character named Deadman. And one thing I'll say about it is you get to a point where each character will explain why they're named that. I've seen some people really mixed on the reactions of this. I thought it was fine. I mean, each character explained their backstory, so I had no problem with that. But I can totally understand why somebody might have an issue with that. Gameplay of the game itself, I think it's a lot of fun. The controls are a little bit interesting to get used to. You hold both of the back triggers on the DualShock 4 together to kind of hold your balance when you're walking or running. The other part of this game, without really spoiling any of it, is there's obviously a supernatural aspect to the game. So basically there's a way where the world of the dead and the world of the living are kind of colliding. Because of that, you have enemies named BTs who can stop your package delivery. One other thing I'll say was a little disappointed in the game was I kind of wanted to go further with this supernatural aspect of the game. They don't really do as much with it as I was kind of hoping. It's really interesting anyways. Overall through and through, I really enjoyed my time with Death Stranding. I do think it is one of the best games of the year. It's not my game of the year. There's one other game I think that's just a little bit better. We'll get to that, with Game of the Year stuff. But I do think it is one of the best games of the year if you can give it a chance, if you can sit down and play the game and just really have a fantastic time with it and get invested in the story, but also get invested in, making these deliveries and stuff. And yes, you can make the argument, oh, you're just doing fetch quests and running from point A to point B. I get the argument, I can see it, and I can completely understand why some critics just hated this game. But I enjoyed my time from beginning to end. Look, it's a Kojima game. The man obviously is a genius. He's made some of the best video games ever made, and I think Death Stranding stands among them. So at the end of it, and one other thing I'll say, I played the game on the PS4 Pro. I didn't have any issues. It runs at 30 frames. It runs at a pretty close to 4K resolution. I think it ran perfectly. It runs on the Decima engine, which is the same engine that powered Horizon Zero Dawn. I think they did a good job picking that engine, and I think they did a good job building a game around that engine. It's an absolutely fantastic and gorgeous engine, and everything just shows when you play the game. So again, this is kind of a quick review of Death Stranding. I don't want to spoil anything about the story. For me, giving it a final letter grade, I'm giving it an A-. I had a fantastic time with the game. That being said, there were a couple things that were kind of knocked it down a peg for me. But overall, coming out of the other end, I do think it is one of the best games of 2019. And if you are into playing something different, then you are going to have a fantastic time with it. If you're in the mood for something different, you got a PS4, you're looking for a new PS4 exclusive game, I think Death Stranding, you can't really do much wrong with it. If you go into it with the mindset of this is a completely different game than anything Kojima's ever made, you're going to have a great time with it. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my video review of Death Stranding. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.